please welcome our guest speaker, Mrs. Azucena Rubalcaba.
Hello and welcome everybody. I'd like to begin today with a little experiment, if you'll indulge me. I want you to think back to the first time that you held your baby, or your niece, or your nephew, or your grandchild. And I want you to remember that feeling you felt of unconditional love, of the desire to do anything and everything to make this child happy. Hold on to that feeling. Don't lose it. Now I'm going to walk you through another scenario. This beautiful baby that you're holding was just diagnosed with trisomy 21. That beautiful baby that you're holding has a congenital heart defect. That beautiful baby that you're holding is going to require open heart surgery to correct that heart defect. Possibly a second or a third surgery. As that baby grows, they're going to have more issues, more problems. When that baby turns 5, their lungs are going to stop functioning properly. Remember that feeling from earlier? That feeling of doing anything and everything to make sure that that baby was well and happy? What would you do if you found yourself in that second scenario? Where would you look for help for that baby? My family has lived through that scenario. My 7-year-old daughter has a heart defect, and she did have to go under open heart surgery. And at the age of 5, she was diagnosed with chronic lung disease from complications of an immune deficiency. Now, the most common question that I get when dealing with this situation is, what about a transplant? What about a lung transplant? What about a heart transplant? And the reality is, of the 13 different specialists that we see, not one single doctor has ever suggested a transplant. The reason for that is people with neurodevelopmental disabilities and cognitive disabilities do not qualify for organ transplants. And it's not because of a law that states they don't qualify, it's because of personal bias. You can help us change that and change how these children and adults with disabilities are seen and cared for by their medical professionals. Today I'm going to talk about specifically trisomy 21 and transplant boards and how they're run and the laws that are in place in some states to help those people. Trisomy 21 is the medical term for Down syndrome. And Down syndrome, according to the National Down Syndrome Society, is when a partial copy or a whole copy of the 21st chromosome is found in your mitochondrial makeup. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 1 out of 700 babies with Down syndrome are born in the United States every year. According to Geraldine Kyle, many health issues are associated with people that have trisomy 21, including cardiac disease, anallaxial instability, growth issues, thyroid function, ear, nose, and throat issues. Many of these conditions can lead to other complications and other conditions that stem from the initial diagnosis. For our daughter, her heart defect is going to require further procedures to correct, and it has complicated her lung disease as well. Trisomy 21 is considered a neurodevelopmental disease. Kim Overby reports in her article for Neuroethics fix now that the ADA requires that individuals with disabilities be given the same considerations regarding access to organ transplantation as individuals without disabilities. In the same article, she notes that given the ongoing scarcity of organs, organizations like UNOS continue to use post-operative compliance due to neurodevelopmental status and cognitive function as a reason to deny people with neurodevelopmental disabilities a place on the transplant list. What that means for families of children like my daughter, that if they find themselves in that scenario where their child's lungs don't function, where their child's heart doesn't function, there is no option to save that child's life. The ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, is part of where these laws are listed that help with discrimination against disabilities. They are supposed to protect individuals from the bias that is found on these boards that are now choosing who gets to live and who gets to die. My very vibrant 7-year-old who loves music, playing with her family, she loves school, the ocean, she has a love for life, would not be an ideal candidate for a transplant because she is not a neurotypical child, because she cannot learn like her neurotypical peers, because she cannot develop like her neurotypical peers. These boards see her as a waste of an organ, as her value of life being less than the next child on that list. According to an article for Harvard Law, Emily Largett states that California, New Jersey, Maryland, Massachusetts, Oregon, Delaware, Kansas, all are states that now have laws on the books protecting these individuals. Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New York are all in the process of enacting these same laws. And while this is a great step forward, it's only the beginning because there is no enforcement of these laws when it comes time to make the decision of who gets an organ. The value of life of people should not be determined by their cognitive abilities. If the person can medically successfully undergo this surgery, then they should be given the same opportunities as our neurotypically developing peers, I apologize. People who have Down syndrome have come a long way. Their life expectancy has gone from the early 30s to now being able to live into their 50s. They can live full, vibrant lives. And while these laws that only really exist on paper can help people like my daughter who has Down syndrome, we need to do more. Everyone here knows someone with a disability, whether in your family, personally, or by association. I urge you to find it in your heart and find time in your busy schedules to make a 10-minute phone call to your government representative, to your senators, and urge them to help the many organizations that are fighting for people with disabilities so that we can afford people with neurodevelopmental disabilities and cognitive disabilities the same chances at life as their neurotypically developing peers. Their lives depend on your support. The life of my beautiful girl depends on the support of people like you. Please take the time to call your government representative. And if you can, volunteer for these organizations. At the end of this speech, I will have that information for anyone who wants to call their senator or call their representative and call any of these organizations. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can make a difference